Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting, and we're going to take a look at a mixture of graded stakes events across the country for Saturday, starting at Delaware Park, where their card is headlined by the Grade 1 Delaware Handicap, but we're going to take a look at one of the undercard races first, Jim. The 7th is the Grade 3 Kent on the turf for 3-year-olds going a mile and an eighth. Who'd you go with?
There were 3 horses coming out of the same race at Belmont on June 20th. It turned out to be a key race with a horse finishing third coming back and winning, as well as Syntax the 5, who's the winner who comes back here. So I think you can make a case for all 3 of those. Syntax the 5, All I Care About the 8, and We Can Express the 7. I think All I Care About might be the bargain here. 4-1 on the morning line. Was favored that day, and he had a wide trip. He was 7 wide in the stretch, and was linked behind Syntax. And I kind of like All I Care About getting the outside draw here in the Kent. So the rematch, to me, goes to All I Care About among those 3. Chief Kitten is going to get a lot of money because of Chad Brown and Ken Ramsey. He's running 4 consecutive stakes, but the speed figures are nowhere near what the other horses come out of. So he's run a 74, 75, 75 the last 3 races. And the other race came back in 80. So if you believe in buyer speed figures, Chief Kitten might be a class edge here, but don't know that he's quite quick enough to beat all 3 of those. So I'm going to go with All I Care About on top of Syntax, the 5, We Can Express the 7, and I'll put Chief Kitten in my tries as well, simply because of the connections.
I'm going to take a little bit of a flyer here on the other Chad Brown, who is Money Multiplier, 8 horse, and I think All I Care About would be my pick. Was going to be initially my pick as well, but I just wasn't real wild about any of the more accomplished ones in here. So I went back and tried to talk myself into somebody that didn't fit as much on paper, and I came to this horse who's bred to love the turf. Hadn't been on it yet, but bred to love it. And you get a nice price, and Brown could have picked a much softer spot for this horse, so must think that he's got some ability. And I'm going to take a shot with Money Multiplier. Use them in exactas with the ones you talked about, but at 8-1, I'm going to take a shot with Money Multiplier at the 3. 10th race, Grade 1 Delaware Handicap, and not as strong a field as we've seen at times in this race. Or you'd have one of the Havre de Grace or Blind Luck, those types in here. Sheer Drama's the favorite, but she likes to run second too often for my taste. So I took America, the 2 horse for Bill Mott. Going a mile and a quarter. This is a daughter of AP Indy, so she ought to love the mile and a quarter. There's, as I said, not a standout in here, so she doesn't have to be great. I don't know that it's a Grade 1 caliber field. And it's the 3rd off the layoff from Mott. And the fact that you're going to get a nice price is kind of what seals it. So I'm going to take a little bit of a shot with America. The places that Mott has put her, it suggests that he thinks there's some real top-notch ability there. I'm going to use her with Sheer Drama, with Rosalind, who probably would be my pick if I didn't use America, and then the 7 Joint Return, who really likes the surface there at Delaware Park. How about you?
Yeah, you're doing the same thing as I am. I'm taking a look at Frivolous, the 1 horse, and I didn't have her at 32-1 last time out. I'm sure not going to bet her at 3-1. She jumped up in the fleur-de-lis and just, attended a fairly pedestrian pace and then put them away, and nobody could catch her. And John Court comes back with her for Vicky Oliver, and I think she's got a shot. But I'm going to go with a couple other horses that I like. America. I like Sheer Drama, but I don't like her to finish on top. So I went with Fortune Pearl, the 3 horse. And I just think I was doing the same thing that you were doing on the previous race to Kent, trying to look for some value, because I'm not really impressed that these fillies and mares are Grade 1 quality.
Yeah,
I can make a case. Flashy America, they're nice allowance horses, $100,000 stakes horses, but Sheer Drama has competed at the highest level, so on class alone you would take her, but she's going to be no bargain at the windows. So I'm going to think Fortune Pearl. If you go back 3 at Keeneland, she won the mile and 16th in an optional $80,000 claimer, and before that she exited the Alabama Grade 1 and got beat by Stop Charging Maria and finished right with Joint Return. So value-wise, I think Fortune Pearl for Grand Motion is going to be a nice price. So I'm going to take her on top. In multiple leg wagers, though, I would use all of them. I can't throw out really anybody. If you start looking at Fortune Pearl as having a shot, she's actually the longest shot in the field. So I might do it all here and try to single elsewhere. But Delaware Handicap is a Grade 1, and somebody's going to pick up a nice prize.
They have a couple of graded stakes on the card at Indiana Grand. Nice card there. We're going to first look at the 8th race, which is for 3-year-old fillies, the Grade 2 Indiana Oaks at a mile and a 16th. And I like Ah Chocolate in there. This horse, off an allowance win at Keeneland, was very impressive, and so much so that they bet her down in the Black-Eyed Susan in a Grade 2 out of that non-winners of one other than allowance. And she ran okay. I think was third and just so-so. Well, now Neil Howard's had time to kind of regroup with her and not maybe rush quite as much as they were at that time. She's really worked well, and I like her a lot. I'm going to use her with Ocean Wave, Sweetgrass, who kind of an oddly run race out at Prairie Meadows. I think there's a little ability there, and she's kind of kicked it in late, so I'm going to use her again. And the 7, Pangburn. So 6 with 147 for me. How about you?
We didn't talk about this, but I love Chocolate as well. Only 3 lifetime races, exits the Black-Eyed Susan. She ran great at Keeneland, setting her up for the Black-Eyed Susan. And then she runs behind Keen Pauline and Clue Betty. And Clue Betty came back and won. So that was a nice race, and she was wide on the turns. I think this sets up perfectly for her. And I think Chocolate could be a single in any pick 3s or pick 4s that you play. I also like Pangburn, the 7, Sweetgrass, the 4, who exits the Iowa Oaks. And I would play those under Chocolate, and I think they've got a shot. And I think the 7, the 8 horse, and Silver Pockets Full, the 11, intrigues me a little bit. She was touted as possibly an Oaks filly, and she kind of laid an egg in the Ashland, got beat by 6 lengths, which is no real disgrace to getting beat by Lovely Maria. But they put her up for a little while. She comes back for Ian Wilkes, and I think she's the price horse here. So Silver Pockets Full I would use underneath as well, but Chocolate, the 6, is my choice in the Indiana Oaks.
And we'll go to the Indiana Derby next, the 9th race, Grade 2. 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. How'd you see it?
You know, I still can't believe Mr. Z beat Divining Rod last time out the Ohio Derby. I am not a fan of horses who race that much. I know that's how Dwayne trains them, but I thought Mr. Z was going to do the same thing he'd done everywhere else. He goes off to the lead, and nobody challenges him, and Joe Bravo held on. So maybe they found a match there, but I can't bet him at the short price he's going to be here. I think Divining Rod beats him here. And Mr. Z's got to be wearing down at some point. This is his 16th lifetime start. Island Town could be a late developing colt for Ian Wilkes, a 6 horse. So I would use Divining Rod. Island Town intrigues me a little bit. Lightly raced. Won the Matt win last time out at Churchill at a mile and 16th, first time at that distance, and comes back at a mile and 16th. So I think you like the stretch out. I think Le Peru fits him well. So I think Island Town's got a shot as well. But I'm going to take Divining Rod on top and try to beat Mr. Z again.
Yeah,
beat me again.
I'm with you on all of that analysis. I like and I like how Divining Rod's working. Maybe that suggesting that he's kind of had a little bit of a wake up to take a step forward in this spot. I like he's drawn outside of Mr. Z. Island Town's a must use as well. I think there are 2 horses that could be a little bit of a price and offer some value in the gimmicks. Say under Divining Rod, and that's Bold Conquest and Far Right, who are coming off subpar races, but I think on their best day are good enough to be right there with this group and won't be bet that way. So I would definitely use them. So I'm going to take Divining Rod in exactas with Bold Conquest, Far Right, Island Town, and Mr. Z as well. But I'd almost be willing to toss Mr. Z and stand with the others. And finally, we want to look at Del Mar. The Del Mar racing has started, and on Saturday they have a Grade 1 as their 4th race. It's early on the card. It's the Eddie Reed, always early in the meet, at a mile and an 1/8 on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. And who'd you see that you liked in there?
Yeah, this is a nicely matched field. I don't know that it's a Grade 1 level, except for I did go with a class here. The 2 horses that I liked were Finnegan's Wake, the 7. They kind of did an experiment on the dirt last out. I didn't like him on the dirt, and he didn't run that great. Got beat by Hard Aces, an opportunity in the Gold Cup, but that was a Grade 1. He got beat by 4.5. Now he goes back to the turf. He's been hard to handle out there. He's 1 for 1 at Del Mar. He's 3 for 6 at distance, and he seems to be going the right way and very consistent. Always runs a 99-101 buyer on the turf. So I think he's the best horse. But the other horse that I like with the speed is Midnight Storm, the 3 horse. And I'm thinking if some of the other speed horses, maybe 20/20 Vision, Maltus, you don't know how much speed he's got, and Big Casanova in particular, first first time in a long time on the turf. It's probably going to show speed. So if they compromise Midnight Storm, I'm going to take Finnegan's Wake, but I'm going to box Midnight Storm and Finnegan's Wake because I think there is a shot that Tyler Bates puts Midnight Storm on the lead and goes all the way. You almost won the Shoemaker Mile that way. So those are the two I like, Midnight Storm and Finnegan's Wake, about evenly matched, maybe a slight edge to Finnegan's Wake because of the shape of the race.
I'm going to take a hunch that Finnegan's Wake's maybe danced a lot of dances this year since back in the winter, that maybe he's not at his best. And Midnight Storm, as you mentioned, the speed that's in here. So I'm going to try to beat those two with Gabriel Charles. Loves this turf course. He's a head bob away from being 2 for 2 on it. And the 2 times he ran here last summer, in the opening day stake, the Oceanside, which he got beat ahead, and then he came back and won another stake. Mike Smith rode him in both of those, and Smith gets back on him here. Hadn't been out since May, but Jeff Mullins is very good, like 20% off this kind of layoff. And just for a horse that loves the course, that will offer a little value, because I think those other 2 horses will take the lion's share of the money. I'm going to try the 2, Gabriel Charles, in here and use them in exacta boxes with Midnight Storm and Finnegan's Wake. That's the Del Mar card, the 4th race. Remember, it's early on the card, the Grade 1 on Saturday. And next week, of course, Saratoga cranks up. And we should remind folks that simulcasting is now open at the Red Mile, the new location for Keeneland simulcasting.
It is. I'm right here recording this with you, and we got open on Wednesday, and we had half the facility open. The entire facility is open as of Thursday, so we've got 2 nice areas. One of the issues that we got is parking, so you got to kind of work your way around the round barn as it is to the Broadway side of the Red Mile facility. The front's still under construction, but you got to park to that side, and the security guys will help you in. Got golf carts coming in if you need a little assistance. Once you get in the facility, it's brand new. It's really nice. We had a great opening day, and looking forward to a big weekend. So visit us at the Red Mile. We've moved down here. Instant racing won't be open until September, but simulcasting is up and going right now.
And the construction will be over before too long, and so there will be plenty of extra parking, and should be a great place to go hang out and watch great racing. Del Mar, Saratoga. Del Mar now underway, Saratoga soon, and of course the Keeneland Fall Meet's not too far away. A lot of great racing coming up, Kentucky Downs with those big purses in September. So make sure you always keep your Keeneland Select account funded if you can't get out to simulcasting, and we'll wish you luck on your wagers this weekend, and we'll be back next week with another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.